All right, everybody, welcome back to Birds and Blues Sports. It is me and Pete at the second. Don't worry, other people will be joining. Dan will be with us shortly. Ray will also be with us in audio only. But so we have a lot to talk about today. We're gonna get into the Yankees today. The wait
Oh
is
yeah.
the wait is over. I've actually prepared a couple of clips that to be played for the first time, like trying something a little bit different. I'm going to play some clips and then we're going to react to said clips from Brian Cashman.
A
Um,
lot to react to.
yeah, there's a lot to react to.
Yeah.
I have a few here. Um, but we're going to get to that later when Dan gets in because I don't want to rob Dan of that at all. So we're just going to kind of go over week 9 at first, week 9 football action. And then, as the other guys kind of trickle in, then we'll kind of transition to talking about the Yankees for a bit. And then we'll go ahead and make our week 10 picks pretty much. So with that being said, we had Thursday night football, Titans versus Steelers. Will Levis's second game, and I called that he was going to have a problem against the Steelers, and the Steelers did in fact pull it out. They are 5-3 on the year. They are the first team since 1933 to be outgained in rushing and passing by every team they faced and have a positive record. But they are outscoring teams 44-14 in the fourth quarter. So it is 100% just coaching down there in Pittsburgh because that team is not talented outside of TJ Watt and George Pickens and maybe Jalen Warren. So Mike Tomlin's doing a hell of a job down there. Will Levis had a rough game 2 for his rookie because he's been named the starter pretty much the rest of the year. Rough game 2, but you knew it was going to be rough. That's a hostile environment in the Steel City, and Steelers just keep finding a way, man.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, I think we all kind of could have predicted Levis having some growing pains when it comes to playing with the Steelers defense, and the Danimal is in the house.
What up?
Wasted no time. Excellent. They only got into the first game.
Nice. Which game? Thursday game?
Thursday
game. I was just talking about how Levis, we kind of figured that he was going to struggle a little bit against a amped up Pittsburgh defense at home. Mike Tomlin coaching up that team big time.
Like that shit, Dan?
That's pretty good. I like it.
Justin Pugh is the fucking man. That's all I'm going to say.
So much respect.
So much respect for him. But continue.
So, yeah, I mean, Tomlin I'm pretty sure he's cementing himself as a Hall of Fame coach right now. I think it's hands down, like, this guy is winning with not a lot of help. I saw somewhere, I forget who said it, one of the talking heads on ESPN basically flat out said that Pittsburgh Steelers could be like one of the worst teams in the league, yet they're 5-3. So the fact that they're competing is just a testament to how good Tomlin can coach up a team. But Tennessee should feel pretty positive about Levis. I mean, he still did pretty well. I think he had one turnover, but threw the ball well. He makes some pretty impressive throws just off of instinct almost, it feels like. He's got to work on his mechanics a little bit and just his footwork. He's throws a lot off his back foot, but I think he looks good. Derrick Henry still chugging along. My only other takeaway from this game was Deontay Johnson. He finally showed up, got his first tud in about 2 years.
613 days.
George Pickens was having none of that selly. He saw Deontay Johnson going off, and he threw his hands up and just walked off the field when his team was celebrating him getting that touchdown. George Pickens, I'm pretty sure he unfollowed like all of the Pittsburgh Steelers and like took his profile pictures now from college. Like, just why is it that the wide receiver position produces some of the biggest divas that we've seen? And I mean, this goes back to like T.O., OBJ, even like DK Metcalf, we talk about all the time being a diva. And now George Pickens is kind of picking right up, pun intended, where these other guys left off. So
it'd be one thing if George Pickens was T.O. and was bitching and complaining. Unfortunately for him, he isn't T.O. He's never going to be T.O. I was screaming about this today. I mean, and not just with you guys, but with coworkers and stuff like. And it's not just receivers now, because now we have McKinney from the Giants like making a complete fucking fool out of himself. So excuse my language, but it's getting so annoying. These young players in the NFL who are still on their first contracts, they don't believe that they need to earn anything. They're more concerned about themselves than they are with their team winning. So that Pickens baloney that happened, man, if Parcells was still coaching, he would have already been gone. But we don't live in that world anymore. So Mike Tomlin and these other really successful coaches, and they've had to adapt. I mean, Mike Tomlin's been coaching for a long time now, so he's had to adapt to this new modern player who is just all me, total crybaby. I mean, like I said, it'd be one thing if they were T.O., but they're not. And none of these guys are. Elijah Moore last year, like, get out of here, bro. Haven't done anything.
Has a lot of NBA vibes, I feel like. You get an NBA player and they get unhappy and they force themselves into a new situation. I feel like that's kind of trickled down to the NFL a little bit, where you get one.
It's player empowerment. This is new player empowerment movement.
Oh, good. You know what? The NBA has been disappointing me for years and years and years now. So I get to blame them, their sport, for literally destroying the culture of youth sports in this country, because it's only going to get worse from here. I hope I'm wrong. But the whole coddling baby nonsense, me, why isn't it me? We're winning games, but I'm not. No, that's complete nonsense. I mean, the fact that it happens as much as it does now is complete nonsense. I'm so over it. I don't want to talk about it, but it needs to be addressed because it's getting out of hand. Like these guys who make a king's ransom playing a kid's game, like, hey, you know what? You want to help your team win? Go out there and completely dominate. I promise you, you'll find 5-10 minutes in that game where you can make a huge difference. Okay, sure. Even at receiver.
Maximize your minutes.
And yeah, I get it. Your quarterback sucks. You're unhappy with the offense. Blah, 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 blah. You know, we've heard all this crap how many times now? Just dominate your position. If you could get 11 guys on that side of the ball to just dominate their position and to be completely selfless like offensive linemen are on every play, how about centers? Let's talk about what goes into being a center in the NFL. So you have to be perfect on every center quarterback exchange, snap. Long snappers don't get any love either. These guys get killed every play. You have to be able to go from executing the snap to handling at least one 300-pound defender basically concussing you on every play. I don't hear a word from these guys. And you're not going to hear a word from them because all they do is work. And they don't ask for, none of these offensive linemen, they don't ask for you to glorify them after the game's over if they had a great game. I don't hear any of that kind of crap. Like what, it's complete nonsense, bro. I'm really getting sick of it, but it's not going away and it needs to be addressed. I don't want to talk about it, but it needs to be talked about.
I completely agree. And you know what? This actually piggybacks off of what me and Pete were talking about before we went live here. But I think I'm going to bring it up again. We talk about players, player me, player emotion stuff. How about Caleb Williams this past week? I mean,
hate it.
I hate it too. And I was telling Pete why. I'm a fan of you showing emotion, but optics matter. Like
Yes.
if you were just emotional and you were at the post-game press conference and you were just pissed off because you lost and you're crying a little bit because you're frustrated, I got no problem with that whatsoever. The problem that I have is when you search out your mother, climb into the stands, and then cry in her arms in the stands in full uniform on national television. And then post game, you don't even stay for your press conference. And the only question that you're answering is, what are you going to do now? Like after a loss like this, I'm going to go home. I'm going to hang out with my dog and watch TV shows. It's like, that is just such a red flag to me.
It's immaturity.
It's immaturity. I don't care how good this guy is.
I don't either.
Like that is not a built for New York type quarterback. Like,
listen, I had my problems with Lawrence. They were all on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I never once thought that Trevor Lawrence wasn't a good leader and didn't show that he could lead alpha fucking superhumans on the field. He can. This guy can't do that. Not right now, at least. You mean to tell me that this is a top 10 pick? Well, that's the easiest bust designation that I could give of basically of all time.
Top 10 talent, but when it comes to all the other intangibles of being able to handle the moment and the spotlight and the maturity, he's not there. And that is clear as day.
Clear as day.
It's
if I'm the Giants, if I was picking tomorrow,
it's a gamble. It's a big gamble.
Yeah.
If
John Mara won't draft him. There's no way in hell he's getting drafted to the Giants. No way.
I've been talking about it for a little bit. I think they take Penix Jr. Or Penix. It's pronounced Penix. I think they like Penix Jr. And I don't think they were just there to scout Caleb Williams. I think they were there to scout both guys.
No, there's a lot of pro talent on those teams that played.
Yeah,
that's why pro scouts were there.
Yeah, there's a lot.
The Jets were there too. You think are they taking Caleb Williams?
No. So I just wanted to bring that up too. I thought that was a decent side note.
Guys, I should have warned you. I'm fired up today. I had a day. I'm fired up today. I've been the smoke is already coming out of my ears. I'm ready to go.
Listen, we missed you. This has been 2 weeks we haven't had you. So
I know, and I missed you guys to death. Hopefully, I'm not on nights anymore, and I can continue doing this with you guys. This week was a little bit of a break, but yeah, I'm fired up today, so I'm ready to go. Let's go.
Baby. Let's go to the second. Let's go. Let's go to Germany.
Yeah, let's go to Germany. So, Dan, before we continue, me and Pete, we were going to go through the last week's games so that we could give, you time and Ray time to get in here. Because after we go through week 9 games, we're hammering the Yankees for at least a little bit. So
perfect.
Yeah. So just build. I actually have some clips ready for us so that we could kind of react to it. Right here.
Perfect.
Next was Germany, Frankfurt, Dolphins, Chiefs. This game was pretty shitty. Like the Dolphins did not look that great. They didn't start scoring until like the fourth quarter. Travis Kelce had just stayed on the plane, 2 catches, 7 yards. This was just a really ugly game. And not probably what the NFL wanted. The NFL probably wanted fireworks for the first game in Germany, and
sparklers,
not little,
Yeah.
So, but I mean, the Chiefs got the win, but what else is new? Number 15 is alive and breathing. So,
can I would like to make a suggestion for the NFL. When you're going to do a game like this, and it's your big introduction to Germany, why not do this with 2 teams that are coming off the bye week? That way they can get their asses overseas and get your fucking legs underneath you, and then not have this stinker of a game. I mean, 21-14, but it was a hard watch, especially at 9:30.
Terrible.
At 9:30 in the morning, you're expecting Chiefs, Dolphins, 2 of the top teams in the AFC. You're looking for a smash fest, and this was not it. And I think the Dolphins, they fell flat. And I mean, the Chiefs put up 21 and they looked flat as hell too. So I don't know if that's just travel fatigue or what, but that was my big takeaway. And also, the Chiefs need to get Taylor Swift back in that building, because T. Kelsey is struggling without her right now. I heard during the bye week this week he's going down to Argentina to go be with her during her tour. So maybe that'll give the boost he needs, but he is struggling right now.
Yeah, but that was his worst game of his career or something like that. So
struggling because they don't have a lot of pieces on offense. I mean, their offense isn't doing what it had done in the past this year. What's winning games for the Chiefs is competency at quarterback, obviously, and a defense that has come together and played a lot better this year than in years past. And let me touch on the Dolphins real quick, because Pete, you asked the question: is it travel? How many quality wins do the Dolphins have this year?
0.
They haven't beat a team like the Chiefs or the Bills this year.
They haven't beaten a team over 500 yet.
No, but when you just think about the type of team, and I mentioned this earlier in the year, a team that's really physical like the Bills, or now the Chiefs. You have to put the Chiefs in that conversation. They're not the greatest show on turf. They play opposite of that this year. They're winning games doing the opposite of that.
They're grinding this year.
They're grinding games and they're winning. And the Dolphins don't play well against that so far. And I don't know if that's going to change, because when you see the struggles, like, you wouldn't necessarily think that the Dolphins would struggle to score points on the Chiefs. But like I said, Chiefs defense has really showed out this year. They're not being given a lot of credit for that. I don't know if it has so much to do with the travel. Let me also go on record. I don't know if I've ever stated this on the podcast. I don't like these international games. Okay, I think that they're unfair for the players, and I don't care what's fair and not fair for the players, but logistically, it's a nightmare. You have, and I just experienced it myself, going from a night shift to a day shift, trying to get my body clock back. You're playing 9:30 in the morning, basically, because that's what your clock is telling you, is that it's 9:30 in the morning. And that's all your body knows. It doesn't know that it's later in the evening or later in the afternoon or whatever. So it's a logistical nightmare. I hate these games. I know they're not going to stop. But, the only team that has an advantage in these games so far has proven to be the Jaguars, because they've made it less of a logistical nightmare for the Jaguars to succeed.
They're grooming them to be there. That's why.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Yeah, it's like The NFL wants them there. I'm going to put the tinfoil hat on. I think they end up in London soon.
No tinfoil hat required. Shad Khan would have had this team playing anywhere if the NFL had given the okay. He can't just move them.
Yeah.
Like, especially overseas, you're not just going to move an NFL team wherever you want. So yeah, I think he would have had him moved already.
All right. Next, we had crazy game. Vikings Falcons. Taylor Heineke was named the starter for the Falcons after Desmond Ridder was abysmal. The Vikings started their rookie, Jaron Hall, out of BYU. He's a little guy. He's not built to play quarterback, and we saw that after he got blasted at the goal line. So in comes Joshua Dobbs off the plane, has no idea what the offense is, doesn't know who his teammates are, somehow, some way, has multiple touchdown performance and leads the Vikings to a comeback win over the Falcons on the road. I mean, I'm speechless, totally speechless. I mean, I understand that this guy is like a genius. Like, everyone forgets that he's like actually a rocket scientist. Like, he has a master's degree in like
legitimate.
Yeah, like legitimately he's a rocket scientist. So I understand he's like the smartest football player maybe ever. But I mean, how do you do that? How do you do that? You know what? That's a credit. Pete, I'm going to let you go in a sec.
Oh.
That's a credit to that coaching staff. I think O'Connell is a great coach. I mean, I understand what Dobbs had to do was, primarily all him, but to just for O'Connell to simplify everything that much, that quickly for him on the
brilliant
is brilliant. And I think that's why the Vikings want to bring back Kirk Cousins, because they're going, oh shit, we have a really good head coach here. We're not that far off if we have add a couple more pieces here, so that's just my 2 cents, but go ahead, Pete.
Yeah, I think the first thing that needs to happen is before the viral video goes out, the Minnesota Vikings need to make sure the install of the Joshua Dobbs jersey is in full effect right now, because did he earn his jersey on Sunday? The video of them on the sidelines and him under the center going over his cadence with the offensive line, ridiculous. And then for him to come out and did what he did, I mean, if I'm Justin Jefferson, his clock, they opened it up right now. I mean, is it far stretch to say that Minnesota could maybe make the playoffs, squeak in?
They're on pace.
I mean, I know tough injury Cam Akers. Oof. He's better than Madison.
Are we sure?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. I think they all suck.
Well, all right. They both suck. It's all bad, but he was the better of the bad. Arthur Smith, man.
Oh.
All right. I know, Dan, the video that I sent out of him, 5 minutes of him explaining to the media why Bijan Robinson, who was a top 5 pick,
8th overall,
okay, 8th overall, top 10 pick, has only 1 carry inside the 5-yard line, and he is your number 1 running back, arguably top 5 running back in the league as a rookie, and you're giving carries to Jonnu Smith. I'm glad he shaved the mustache off, because he doesn't deserve the mustache. That's the most incompetent thing as a head coach, to try to justify that. Just bite the bullet and just humor everybody and say, yeah, we're going to get him more carries. That's it. I don't need your justification of why you're an idiot.
Exactly.
Yeah. It was a
Why
bad
do you feel the need to justify yourself? You're the head ball coach.
Yeah, like we know that the Desmond Ritter experience out the window didn't work out. We know Heineke is better, but he's not great. So you're moving along slowly. So just own up to fucking up and say you're going to correct it. That
It's
just
so,
hurt
it's
my
so
head.
easy. It's so easy. You know how much you're going to win so many people over by doing that. Like, do these people have any good PR people at all? Like, do
No.
they not realize that is
Social
good
media doesn't
PR?
help by posting the video of the press conference.
Ugh.
Like, just scrub that from your media and move on, because not helping yourself.
Yeah,
I found out he's the son of a billionaire.
Here's why Arthur Smith, even though he's wrong for doing so, might want to justify it, is because I've been watching Texas football hardcore for the last 2 years. I watched what Bijan did last year against SEC opponents and Big 12 opponents. They gave him the ball plenty at the goal line. So there's zero excuse. And again, why do you feel the need to defend how you've been using them? Like you sealed your fate for me as a leader and as a head coach. As soon as I hear that kind of crap, like no, you don't. First of all, you realize that you've been making a mistake, and we know that you have, because now you feel the need to justify it to everybody. Okay, well, you're admitting the mistake, and you're basically explaining to everybody, why you're smarter than everybody else is. No, like, dude, that doesn't work. Like, I don't know what these guys think when they go to the podium. Sometimes I don't think they do half the time.
No.
Like it's bad. Like, just like you said, Pete, it could have been real simple. We're gonna do better.
That's it.
Like,
That's it.
You don't need to say anything other than that. We're gonna do better. We know what we have in Bijan. We understand how special he is. We're gonna do better. We need to be better. End of conversation. Press conference over. Walk away. Go coach your team.
And everybody that is a fan of the Atlanta Falcons is going, yeah, all right, that's awesome. We're gonna see improvement.
Right. Yeah.
I had no idea that his father is the founder of FedEx. How crazy is that?
Oh, good. He's
got
a job waiting for him.
His dad is literally the founder of FedEx. He's the son of a billionaire. How about that?
We've got too much of that going on in the NFL, I think.
Yeah. Oh. We'll touch on that later. Next we had was Bears versus Saints in New Orleans. I mean, the Bears suck. I mean, Cole Kmet had a really good game. He's shown that he's a pretty damn good tight end. But the Saints were just a better team, and the Bears are not good, and they don't have Justin Fields, and their backup's not half bad. He turns
Not
the ball
bad.
over.
Two-player Teabag he's decent.
He's not he won himself some nice backup quarterback money, but it's just I got nothing with this game. The Bears are terrible.
Yeah.
The only thing Carr's starting to gel a little bit more with the Saints. Him and Olave seem to get on track more than they have been, which is not saying a lot what you needed for improvement between them two, because they have not been on the same page clearly the last few weeks. But the Saints, friggin' the gadget guy, what's his?
Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill. Man, that guy has carved out a little niche in that offense, and he's pretty consistent when they go to him. The gadget runs, he's a brick shit house, just plowing through people. And now they're actually utilizing him as a tight end. He's catching more balls, caught a touchdown. So I think I like him as a gadget guy, and he adds that little dynamic to the offense, and I like that. Yeah, and Zach, as you said, the Bears, hot dumpster fire. It's just a matter of what picks they're going to be picking next year.
1 and 2.
I already said that it's automatic that they're probably going to take a quarterback, and they're probably going to take Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yep.
If they get 1 and 2 back to back, I mean,
that's how you turn your franchise around. Go get the mommy crier. This way I don't have to worry about him. Next was Rams Packers. I mean, the Rams threw out Brett Ripien out there at quarterback.
Brett Rippin.
Rippin, whatever. He's now jobless. So because they were so mortified of what they saw that they signed Carson Wentz, and he's pretty much their starter until Matthew Stafford comes back. Like,
step off the wagon.
That is crazy.
Brett Rippin, one of
that's been one with all these teams that lost quarterbacks that no one rang Carson Wentz up because he's such a shitty teammate. And then finally, into week 10, they finally get the phone call where they're desperate enough, where they had nothing left. They checked the cupboards. Everything was barren, and all they had was that box of baking soda in the back corner left. And they were like, all right.
Life is good if you're an executive for the Rams right now, because you're still running on all that cred from the Super Bowl run. So
crazy.
They don't get criticized at all for anything that they do.
Because they they won a ship, and they knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
And you know what? Whatever picks they have, they're turning into quality players. I mean, look at Puka Nacua.
Yeah, amazing.
So they're still the Rams are still competitive. Even they were bad last year, but they weren't an abomination. So the Packers,
they need a quarterback though, because obviously Stafford is
not long for the run.
Yeah, it's coming to an end. It's hey man, guy had a really, really long, amazing Hall of Fame career. I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Imagine what he would have done not trapped in Detroit.
Yeah, for real. Bad coaching, bad defense, bad special teams. They had the glimmer of hope with him and Calvin Johnson. Obviously, those two couldn't carry the team to a Super Bowl. They couldn't even carry the team to, I don't even know how many playoff wins they had. Probably not many. 0, right? So it just goes to show, man, like even if you have a good quarterback and you have one of the best physical specimens ever at receiver, you're not guaranteed to win. It still takes 52 guys.
I agree though.
Every week.
Yep. And on the other side of the coin, the Packers still suck. Jordan Love is terrible.
I think we know now why these clowns from the Packers organization came out and said what they said before the season started, which was, we're going to know what he is very soon, and he doesn't have a long leash, because they knew he wasn't that good.
Yeah,
they were setting themselves up for what's going on right now with their fans by saying that. It makes all the sense in the world now. He just isn't that good.
No, he was never any good. It made no sense.
Packers fans who have been like invading, Jets Bleacher Report since the beginning of the year, now they finally start shutting up because they know that they don't have anything anymore. And, it's going from, oh my God, Aaron Rodgers sucks, like blah, blah, blah. What are you guys doing to, and Jordan Love is going to be the next superstar. We're like, really? Okay. You guys think you have it like that?
then you're the most spoiled fan base on earth, besides maybe Yankee fans and besides I don't know, maybe Patriots fans at this point, real spoiled. So yeah. I don't feel any. You know what? Let them suffer. They've had some great teams. Let them suffer now. I don't care.
They've earned that.
Yeah, yeah, they have. They have earned that. Suffer.
They're just angry they couldn't beat a mouth breather twice.
Good.
Hate to see it. Next was Commanders Patriots. Speaking of the Patriots, in Foxborough, I thought they'd win, after their big win against the Buffalo Bills. They still suck.
Yep.
Commanders, Sam, you know what? Let's give Sam Howell some props here. He's second in the league in passing yards, leading the league in completions. He's just played really, really well. Very, very quietly behind a really bad offensive line. And, no one's really talking about him because he looks like somebody from a fucking LA homeless shelter.
You know what I feel like happened that game against Buffalo where they just got obliterated and he did nothing. I mean nothing.
Yeah.
I think everybody kind of forgot about him after that because everybody just kind of like, okay, this guy just isn't any good. Well, that's not true.
He threw
actually is good.
4 interceptions in that game. He looked good.
But he's competent enough as a starter where I would welcome him right now.
Imagine if he had an offensive line.
He reminds
really.
He reminds me of Kirk Cousins. He's just it looks like they have another Kirk Cousins on their hands. They both played really similarly. They're both producing despite a bad supporting cast. They, for some reason, they don't like to run the ball in Washington.
They don't have a running back.
Brian Robinson isn't bad.
I think it's a lot to do with their line too. Their
line's not good.
And they're not gonna win on the line of scrimmage now, especially on defense. But really, they haven't won on offense on the line of scrimmage for a long time, in the division where it's important to win at the line of scrimmage, and it just hasn't worked out for them that way.
Been sacked 44 times.
Yeah, he's getting killed. I hope he lasts all year. It would be cool to see what his numbers are if he could play a full season.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And man, isn't it amazing to see the Patriots just be horrendous?
That's
Bill Belichick might get left in Germany this weekend.
Yes. That's another team I got to worry about taking a quarterback from me. Douchebags. Patriots thing. Next was Seahawks versus Ravens. The Ravens are like good. Like this is the second team in a row that they've like beat the brakes off of. And they're kind of like here. Like the Ravens are here.
Pete, I just want to say one thing before, and then I'll let you take the rest of this. The Ravens are a legit Super Bowl contender. They are firing on all cylinders right now. And I mean all cylinders. And this is the best that Lamar Jackson has ever looked as a passer. So you're feeling real good if you're a Ravens fan right now. Nobody's going to go in there and beat them up. I'll tell you that much. So, yeah, that's a real tough out. They're going to be in it at the end of the year. And like I said, that's going to be a real tough out for someone.
Yeah, they're quietly 7-2. And I mean, like you said, Lamar, he's putting it together as a passer. I mean, he didn't really need to do much in this game, but I think just all year he's been pretty consistent. But that team is they're playing hard-nosed football. Seahawks, it's unraveling very, very quickly. The only other thing I took away from this, I didn't realize that Mark Andrews, that he has type 1 diabetes, and just his whole process at like during the game is pretty incredible. I was watching it that like as soon as he comes off the field, they check his blood sugar, they monitor it. And like for him to be a professional athlete at this level and to go through all of that on a daily basis, especially during a game, is pretty amazing. I had no idea, and props to him because
I had no idea either. It was amazing video. It was a great video to watch. Yeah, it was just like everything Pete said. It was really, really great to watch. And to Dan's point, the Ravens are just smashing people. Their defense is really good. Their offense is well balanced. They could run the football. They could throw the football. They're just dominating in all three.
And special teams. They have brilliant special teams, and they have the best kicker in the league.
They have, yeah. I mean, Justin Tucker is a freak. So no one's talking about them. They're 7-2. No one's talking about them.
So 7-2 and smacking people around.
Yeah. I don't know if it's because people don't believe in Lamar in the playoffs. And sure, maybe that's a legitimate gripe, but they got to get some love right now. Like, because they're probably the best team in the AFC right now.
Yeah, it's going to take them a while to get that kind of respect because they haven't looked like that in recent years. So I understand that. But at the same time, like, you got to believe what you're seeing, and what you're seeing is a dominant team.
Yeah, they're just dominating. Next, I want to talk about domination. Bucks versus Texans. This was a high-octane fireworks show. Baker Mayfield and the Bucks kind of came alive on offense a little bit, but goodness gracious, great balls of fire. The Texans have a franchise quarterback. And not only do they have a franchise quarterback who is going to run away with Offensive Rookie of the Year, but they have a quarterback who is a legitimate MVP candidate already. And he is easily one of the best rookie quarterbacks that we have seen come out of college in a hot minute. I mean, he has 14 passing touchdowns, 1 interception, 64% completion percentage, and over 2,000 yards. Like, that's insane production on a bottom 5 roster with the Houston Texans. He broke Andrew Luck's record for most passing yards in a game. He tied Andrew Luck's record for most passing touchdowns in a game for a rookie.
For a rookie, right?
Yeah, this is all for a rookie. I mean, it's incredible. He is ridiculous. He is absolutely broken the mold of the Ohio State quarterback stigma, and he is him.
Well, let's be honest, and I'm going to toot my horn a little bit now. That the Ohio State argument was really lazy. I mean, not a whole lot went into that argument. I watched Joe Flacco come out of Delaware and win Super Bowl MVP. Okay, so you're not gonna be able to convince me that just because a player comes from a certain school that he isn't going to be any good. If he gets drafted high, obviously people think he's got a shot. So that maybe we can end all stigmas. Maybe just because a guy plays at USC at quarterback doesn't mean he isn't going to be good. I don't know about this one, but yeah, maybe we can end all of these stigmas now.
We are stigma free here on the podcast.
We should really try trending in that direction, because the other arguments, not much goes into them. Let's be honest. I mean, we only know what we know to begin with. So,
and you know what I know? CJ Stroud is a dog. He is a dog. Man, lighten it up. And you know what? He has a good football mind, because when he got drafted to the Texans, he let upper management know, hey, you know what? There's some guy by the name of Tank Dell that I want to throw the ball to. And I'll tell you what, they have a wide receiver in Tank Dell, because Tank Dell is also a dog.
You know what? Can we show some love to Nico Collins, who is very,
I love me some Nico Collins,
like easily the most underrated wide receiver of the last 2 years. He always
Nico Collins is a more athletic version of Jacoby Myers.
Yes, I like that comparison.
Good comp. Good comp.
He's been great.
Texans, D'Amico Ryan's got him at 500 right now. So
that's
brilliant.
When you find your guy, it's a quick turnaround.
It isn't a lot easier.
It's not just that simple though. D'Amico Ryans is a defensive coach. So what this means for him and his start as a head coach in the NFL is that he hit big time on his staff. He got all the right people in there to do what he's trying to get done, and it's working right now. And Stroud and all these other guys, they deserve all the credit in the world, but D'Amico Ryans isn't getting people aren't talking about him yet. But I think it's only a matter of time. I mean, this guy's already proven himself to be a good coach in year one with, like you said, Zach, might be bottom 5 talent. It might be.
Yeah, it's a bottom 5 roster.
It might, yeah. I mean,
this team to be at 500 at this point in the season. Let's be honest.
Yeah, they're competing with good teams, not just bad teams. So yeah, a lot of credit needs to go to all of those guys over there. They're doing a great job.
Next, we had Cardinals Browns. I mean, this wasn't a game. Clayton Tune had started for the Arizona Cardinals and recorded the worst quarterback rating for a player in his first start since Johnny Manziel. So, with that being said, with your guys' permission, I'd like to move on.
Yep.
Before we do, I would just like to apologize and issue a retraction to my Clayton Tune underdog fantasy player of the week.
There was a reason me and Ray were that shocked.
I, unlike Arthur Smith, understand that I made a mistake and I apologize for that mistake and I'm going to correct it. I will never pick Clayton Tune ever again.
Oh, you mean hold on a second, Pete. You mean you're not going to sit here for 5 minutes and explain to us what went into your Clayton Tune?
I chose Clayton Tune. I'm not going to go into how well he did in college and all the stats and accolades that he racked up in college. No, I'm not going to bore the people at home and people listening and viewing. I'm not going to insult their intelligence. And now we can move on.
Well, real quick before we move on, Michael Bidwell and the entire hierarchy of the Arizona Cardinals are absolutely out of their minds. I don't know what they're thinking. How could you get rid of Josh Dobbs for a day 3 pick swap?
Hank,
how?
Well, I mean, Kyler's coming back this week, and
I don't care.
It's Call of Duty, so
but hold on.
Ranking.
But hold on a second. I don't care. It's the most important position room in the sport. You got to have as many guys in there ready to go as you can. It just, none of it makes any sense. Okay, we can move on. I'm done. Michael Bidwell sucks.
Next we had Colts Panthers. We could talk about the number 1 overall pick now that we were just talking about the number 2 overall pick. Man, do you think Frank Reich hates his owner or what? Because Bryce Young ain't it. I understand it's very, very young in his career. I'm sure he could turn into a good player. But, I mean, the early returns between those 2 quarterbacks is pretty startling. And I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that Stroud is the better player already and probably will be the better player for the rest of their careers. So Frank Reich's probably like, this stupid owner, God, just fucking, so 2 pick sixes for Bryce Young. This is coming off the bye week too. So to look that unprepared off the bye week, it's not a good look for the Panthers, and they don't have their first round pick this year. So it is a total disaster class in Carolina.
Well, Frank Reich could blame his owner all he wants, but he's also not doing much to help his young quarterback out. So I mean, he needs to look at the mirror too.
There's no, let's face it, there's no talent on that team.
No, there's no talent on the team. I'm not saying that they should be a good team, but there is a way to make the quarterback, like, there is a way for your quarterback to play well and you still not be a good team. I mean, to me, some of it's on him too. I don't think he could just sit there and blame his owner on
that. I mean, you're not wrong.
I get it. He's not CJ Stroud, and I agree. He probably will never be CJ Stroud.
I don't even know if he's better than Anthony Richardson. I mean,
I don't think he's better than Will Levis.
Yeah, I don't think he's better than Will Levis either. I think they made a colossal mistake.
And this is normal. This is a normal every year occurrence now, boys, where we get this highly touted quarterback class. Like, every quarterback class every year is going to be brilliant, and we're lucky to get one or two diamonds, and maybe we get 2 diamonds. Maybe we get 3 diamonds out of that class from last year. So maybe it is a good class, but there's always one guy thrown in the mix up that high, grouped in with all these guys that can't play. And am I saying that Bryce Young is doomed? No. I still think he has a chance at a decent career. But, yeah, to your point, Zach, not good.
Not good.
Not good.
Next, we had Giants Raiders in Las Vegas. Me and Ray were nice and homering and thought the Giants would upset the Raiders, but I'm very happy we were wrong, because I would like the Giants to lose every game from here on out. And I appreciate the Raiders for destroying the Giants, as they should. Antonio Pierce has that team ready to run through a wall, because when you exit Josh McDaniels from anything, it gets better. And they were smoking cigars. They were playing basketball. It was just sunshine and rainbows in Las Vegas. And on the other side of the coin, Daniel Jones's Giants career ended and tore his ACL. He was obviously rushed back, because the Giants don't have anyone to play quarterback, because Tyrod Taylor crushed his ribs, because he's never been able to stay healthy. They rushed him back because he never fully regained his full strength on the left side of his body. So they rushed him back, tore his ACL, said, nah, I'm good, let me finish the game, came back in for a play, and just collapsed. Just body said, you know what? You've had enough. You have simply just had enough. And I feel that way too. I've had enough. Let the season just roll on by. Throw out undrafted rookie quarterback Tommy DeVito and have Matt Barkley back him up, and you sign Jacob Eason to the practice squad because to make you look like that we're still trying to compete. This is a full-on tank job now. Full-on tank job. And I am here for it, because I am sick and tired of this team looking embarrassing on offense. And I really, really wanted Daniel Jones to work out for us. It looked like he was going to work out for us last year with that miraculous playoff run, but they're in a position now where they could reset everything. And I think that's what they should do. We already talked about rookie quarterbacks possibly in this class earlier that I would like. And, he's not dumb. He's going to be on the roster next year if they can't trade him. And I'm sure he'll be the consummate professional that he has been since they took him. And whatever happens, happens. And I'm going to lean on my man, Justin Pugh, right here, straight off the couch, going on his personal podcast, begging and pleading with Giants fans to not jump the ship on Brian Daboll, even though I would like to, and I can't stand him right now. But that is my 2 cents on the state of the Giants. I did not want to yell. There's no need for me to yell. They are horrendous. They are poop. They are going to have a top 3 pick. The Raiders look like they might have changed the culture in a matter of 1 week because they got rid of this cancer, Josh McDaniels. That's all I have to say.
He's more concerned about the Patriots than he is his own damn team. What a fool. Oh, yeah. God. Oh, God.
So, you see this smile right here? Last week, I had a plea to the universe, a call of action of things that I thought needed to take place. 3 out of those 4 things happened a matter of hours after the podcast was recorded. At 1:06 in the morning, I received a text message from that guy right next to me. Pete, they listened. And boy, did they listen. Ziegler, gone. McDaniels, go trick or treat with your family. Garoppolo, grab a clipboard, buddy. And in a matter of minutes of Mark Davis doing that, an instant culture change took place in the Raiders organization. An instant positive culture change. Getting back to the Raider way, not the Patriot way, not Patriot West, not whatever bullshit you want to call it. It was doomed from the jump. And I said this as soon as they signed McDaniels. They dropped the ball when they let Rich Bisaccia walk out of that building after the job he did cleaning up after Gruden got shit canned out of there and Henry Ruggs killed somebody. He was a leader of men and took that team to the playoffs. For them to bring in McDaniels just erased everything that Bisaccia put together. And now the Raiders have an opportunity now with a homegrown Compton boy or Compton man, Antonio Pierce. Just bringing Antonio Pierce is a dog. And I love the fire that he brought back to that team. And going into that game against the Giants, there was no way that team was losing. Aside from the Giants just being completely just dismantled, just ravaged by injuries and everything, Max Crosby is, I might homer out on this, but he's the defensive player of the year, in my opinion. Just everything that he does on defense is near unstoppable, and he doesn't take any plays off. The guy plays just about 98% of the snaps. So I think just positive from here. This is see what you do with the rest of the year. I think the culture change in itself will be an improvement for everybody. Nobody's walking on eggshells. Everyone, like you said, the locker room, everyone before the game, Devontae Adams shooting hoops with a paper basketball. Just, you could see immediately the change. And then post game, lighting up cigars and just handing out game balls. I don't know what to expect. I'm kind of tempering my expectations because you got to be realistic and you got some tough games coming up. So we'll see. But I just think the changes that needed to be made were made. Now it's a matter of seeing what Antonio Pierce can do as your head coach. If he does a halfway decent job, I 100% expect him to be in the conversation next year to be a permanent head coach and not just the interim head coach. And then see what they do just as a GM, because I think you have Champ Kelly right now, who's the interim GM. See what happens with this team. They made immediately roster moves, adding linebackers to the team. So we'll see. I think I know we just mentioned diamonds in this draft class at quarterback. I mean, Aiden O'Connell gets his shot now to see what he can do as a mid-round pick. There's not much expectation, but already Pierce let him dictate plays at the line and change plays at the line and seemed to be pretty good. I mean, it was against a Giants defense, but Giants defense has been fairly tough these past few weeks. So I see what you got in him and then go from there. Devontae gave him a big vote of confidence. So if Devontae is cool with it, I'm cool with it. I had positive signs for the Raiders.
Touch on both teams. First, I'm going to ask you, Pete. In recent history in the NFL with interim head coaches, or let's just start with this. When a coach gets fired midway through the season in the NFL, the immediate result the following game seems to be a victory. It seems to be something that gels the team together. The writing is on the wall for a lot of guys at that point. Okay, well, your ass better be ready for a different regime to come in next year, and everything you put on tape this year means a lot. So I think that kind of hit all of them simultaneously. I think it was obviously positive. They wanted that guy out of the building, right? We know how cancers work. But after the first game, it usually doesn't turn out well for interim head coaches. So, are you a believer in enough in what the Raiders currently have to still keep them alive in your mind for the season?
I do. For the simple fact that this was a playoff team before McDaniels walked into that locker room. They made the playoffs, and he took a playoff team and tanked them into the fucking ground. So realistically, it's pretty much the same roster, maybe a bit of improvement on the offensive side, and defensively, they're clicking right now. Like, it's not this. Usually, like going into the season, I was like, oh, this defense it's always been a problem for the Raiders. But with Max Crosby and Robert Spillane at linebacker, they got this defense is pretty good right now. So
let's also be realistic, because we like to keep it real on this show, right? So let's talk about the offense that you guys just played and the offense that you guys are about to play. Your defense is going to look good again, okay? But after these two back-to-back matchups against the worst offenses in the NFL, the Giants are absolutely the worst offense in the NFL. It's not going to get easier for the defense, and I'm afraid, okay, and this isn't me being a hater, I'm afraid they're going to ride high after two solid performances against bad defenses and think that they're all that, and then they're going to come crashing down. That's what would worry me as a Raider fan right now. This is the softest spot part of your schedule in terms of defense anyway.
Well, yeah, because after this, we're going to get Miami. We're going to get KC twice. We're going to get the Chargers one more time. I mean, outside of that, you have the Vikings, who
they're alive.
They're alive still. The Colts put up points. And then we end with the Broncos.
They're the only team in the NFL that have how many 20-plus points every week?
Every week. So it'll be a test for sure. And that's why I'm saying I'm tempering my expectations.
Fair enough. Now, Zach, going into what you said about this whole deal with Dable and the rebuild, and I get why you'd be mad at him. He's been awful this year. It's just a totally different feel from last year. This guy, to me, and I'm not saying that Giants fans should give up on hope for him. I'm not saying that at all, but it's so different from last year. Last year, he was so confident. He had the swag. There was no question they would go for it on 4th and 1 in a key situation. No question. They were going. They were going for 2. They were going for it on 4th and 2, 4th and 3. That's how they were winning games. They were staying in games, and he was the swagger that got them over the top. That's all just completely left the building this year. I don't know why. Here's what I'll say, though. We as fans are so caught up in this idea of tanking to get better picks, but what we forget sometimes, I think, and I do too, and I have, is that the worst thing that can happen is for the Giants to finish this year with 2 or 3 wins, because he is going to go into next year with everybody's going to forget about 2022, Zach. Everybody's going to forget it very quickly, because now they have gone back to what they were before he got there. And now you got to ask yourself, what free agents want to come play for my team? You know, we're not going to get it all rebuilt in one draft class. So realistically, what players want to come play for my team in the offseason? That's a big deal. And that's why I don't believe that the Giants hierarchy and Dable are planning on tanking. That's just my personal feeling. I may be wrong. Okay. But we talk about culture a lot. Okay. You go the rest of this year looking the way that you have on offense with a guy who really can't throw the ball. Okay. There are some really awful quarterbacks, and I get it. It's circumstance. Guys have gotten hurt, but okay. You're the head ball coach. You have to figure out a way to make it work and at least make it look somewhat competent. And that's where I think we're in real dangerous territory right now with the Giants. Now we got McKinney in the media. It feels like this thing that's about to spiral completely out of control. I'm not looking for that. I don't want that to happen, but I felt it recently. So I felt it as recent as last year, and it's probably going to happen to my team again this year. The last thing that you want is for it to spiral out of control. It may have already spiraled out of control to the point where there's no recovering. It's on the head ball coach to make sure that doesn't happen. And I'm just curious what your feelings are about that. And if you were that set on this team just going 2-15 and getting the number 2 pick, like, do you think that isn't going to hurt your organization in the long run?
So that's a great question. I have to answer it in a way that, in the words of a former player. So actually, to touch on, would players want to play for the Giants? During Leonard Williams's introductory press conference when the Seahawks, he was very complimentary with how the Giants handled the trade.
He's a pro. Yeah. He's a pro. Not many guys are as much of a pro as, and I don't mean to cut you off, but he has been a pro. I will say that about Leonard Williams his whole career. I've always thought he was overrated, but he's definitely a pro.
Yeah, no, ton of respect for Leonard Williams for doing that. He didn't have to do that, but no. I just think this Giants front office has treated their players better than the Gettleman regime, and even though they've been absolute horseshit this year, from what I'm reading in the locker room and from what I'm reading from Connor Hughes and other Giants and Jets beat writers, because Connor Hughes does both
teams.
Yeah, and he, was talking about the Xavier McKinney thing. He pulled a couple of Giants defense leaders aside, and they were telling him, yeah, we have no idea what this guy's talking about. Like, that's completely not true. Like, we are so not thinking that we are not hurt on defense. Like, we all live wink, and the results on the field show it. The Giants have a pretty competent defense this year, despite having the worst offense in the league. So I think Xavier McKinney is completely speaking out of turn, and he's just not going to get re-signed, and he's out of there. In terms of your assessment of Daboll, I completely 100,000% agree. The swagger is completely gone. I think he was coaching last year as if, well, I'm here. This team sucks, so let's just go crazy and see what happens.
There's nothing to lose. It was free. It was like, it was so different.
Free. It was totally different. Now they go to the playoffs, they win a playoff game, and listen, they're not, I don't think they're dumb football people. When the season ended, they were probably like, we probably shouldn't have gone that far, but like, let's see if we can redo that, because you're obviously this good of a coach. And they thought that they were probably better than what they were, and they tried to go for it again. And this time, now you're not playing with house money. Now you have to show that you're really good. So he's just decided to coach scared. He's coached scared all year. He's terrified that his quarterback was going to get hit. He was terrified that his quarterback's going to get hurt or turn the ball over or whatever.
And they all got hurt.
And they all got hurt. Everybody got hurt. Every soul got hurt. And you know what? It sucks that Evan Neal's a bust. And it is what it is with that guy. I mean, a team was going to take him top 10 no matter what. It just
that shit happens. That shit happens.
Yeah. I'm not, as a Giants fan, and collectively as Giants fans, we all are just not happy with how Daboll has coached the team this year. We're not happy with how the injuries have fallen for us this year. We have no malice towards Joe Schoen. We have full 100% belief in Joe Schoen to get the right players in here. So that's why I still think the players will want to play for the Giants, because of Schoen and the front office, of how they've been treating players a whole lot different than Gettleman was. I think that resonates, and the team is still together from what I've been reading. There's no fractions, there's no friction. They all know it sucks, and they all know that they suck, but they're going to keep trying, and they're going to keep competing, and they're probably not going to win another game. I'd be very surprised if Tommy DeVito can have them win a game. I mean, if they could somehow win a game, it'll be because they scored 13 points and the defense only allowed like 10. Maybe that happens a couple of times. Their schedule is a little soft right now, but I don't see, to finally answer your question, I don't see this spiraling out of control, because I think it already did last week. I think Daniel Jones tearing his ACL already put the nail in the coffin, and everybody in the building's expectations immediately changed. And I just think they're like, well, we're just not going to be good for the rest of the year. And there's no need to panic. Everyone knows what this is. The locker room was very, very upset that Jones tore his ACL. Even former Giants players, which I was a little surprised to see. A couple players on San Francisco and Indianapolis that played with Jones.
They all like him.
He's universally loved, and you know what? He's a tough bastard, and I really, like I said, I wish it worked out with him. And
I feel terrible for Daniel Jones, because all he's gotten is shit on, and he had 1 year last year where everything kind of clicked. He had the right staff, he had the right play calling, all that kind of stuff, and didn't even have the talent, and still showed that he can do it. So I feel terrible for him, because people are going to continue to crap on him. I'm not ready to say that his career is over as a Giant, by the way. I personally am not ready to say that. But all right. You're the resident Giant fan, you take it away. And I know we spent a long time on this, but
yeah, we'll move on here. It's just, he'll be on the roster next year because he's guaranteed money next year. He'll either be the backup, and it's just, I feel like Schoen and Daboll, they know they have the opportunity to get their guy in here. And they signed Daniel Jones to that contract, and they structured it specifically in a way that in case shit like this happens, they can get out of it. So we'll see what happens. That's just, Giants fans are team red zone for the rest of the season. So Next, we had actual football teams playing, because mine's definitely not a football team. Cowboys versus Eagles. This felt like a playoff game, and the Eagles and Cowboys went toe to toe, and I feel like there was a lot of penalties in this game on both sides, and obviously some Cowboys fans thought that they were favoring the Eagles a little bit, but I felt like the Cowboys gave the Eagles their best punch, and the Eagles just took it and still beat them. And I think the Eagles are just the best team in football. And even with Jalen Hurts hobbled right now, because he's clearly not 100%. He's not moving around a lot at all. So I don't know if he's physically compromised, but I just think the Eagles are better than the Cowboys, and I think that's what was showed.
This was the big fight feel to it. This was a heavyweight battle, and Cowboys threw everything that they had at them. Dak Prescott looked amazing. Slung the ball. CeeDee Lamb had a video game against the Eagles.
Good.
Had almost 200 yards of receiving, and he was a couple yards short of finishing it at the end of that game. But kudos to the Eagles, man. They took everything they could take and weathered the storm and walked out of Lincoln Financial with a dub. We've said it since the beginning of the year that they're probably going to be one, if not the team coming out of the NFC this year. We've said it, them and the 49ers teams to beat, it seems like. And this is a big playoff test, because we very well may see this matchup again in the playoffs. So I think Hurts gets healthy, it's just icing on the cake for the Eagles. I mean, he managed, like you said, Zach, he's not moving around great, but he's doing what he needs to get the job done. So that's all I really got. I mean, Cowboys, it's no shame in losing to an 8-1 team. But I mean, I guess you go back to the drawing board and try to figure out another way to take down the beast.
Yeah, and to the Eagles fan who once in a while, pops up on our show, Jason, I wonder what I'm going to be a hater for a second. I wonder what the Cowboys would have looked like against the Eagles had they not suffered all the injuries that they had this year. That's the only thing I'll bring up, since Jason's so concerned about when his team loses and who's injured and all that. I wonder what the Cowboys would have looked like. So I'll just leave it at that. I think the Cowboys could have beaten the Eagles. I don't think it's a far-fetched thing. I think they're very similarly built teams with a lot of talent. And we'll see what happens with the next one, man. I mean, we still got a lot of football left to go, so I'm not putting the Eagles in the Super Bowl yet.
Also, one other thing with the Cowboys, still, I expected Tony Pollard to have a much bigger season than he's had.
Yeah.
And he has delivered underwhelmingly this year. It looked last year like it was his breakout, right? It was time to just take Zeke out back and put a slug in him, and Pollard, it's your team, right? Hasn't really. He's done okay.
Listen, I think I'm not sure Pollard was a true 3 down back.
It doesn't look like it is.
It doesn't look like it. I don't know what the Cowboys, 1 week Dak looks great. He looks amazing. He looks like the franchise quarterback that we all thought he was after the first year when he got picked in the 4th or 5th round or something like that. And then he has these abysmal games where it's like, dude, what are you even looking at? Like, why would you throw the ball there?
Yeah.
And it's a total enigma. So that they are going to go as far as Dak brings them. Bottom line.
It's never been to the dance. It's never even really been like the steps.
I think ever since he broke his leg, that injury took all the consistency out of him, because I don't think when he broke his leg up in that point in the season, there was no quarterback better than Dak Prescott. He was throwing 500-yard games that year. He was a man on fire. And then after coming back from that injury, I don't know if it was
what
confidence or
what. When he also lost his brother, like he also lost his brother at that time too. So maybe he's just not the same. And it sucks to say that, but it could be both physical, like you said, when he snapped his leg against the Giants, or mental, and it could be both.
real.
He lost his mom and his brother. He lost his mom to cancer, and then he lost his brother. He unfortunately,
real life things do, like we do lose sight of that a lot.
Yeah, these are human beings.
Real people.
Yes. Look at Corey Davis. What would I give to have Corey Davis on my team right now? He looks it really, really sad circumstance there where he lost his brother, and I think he lost his mom this year at the same time. And he retired because he and who can blame him? Mentally, you can't handle it. You have to be able to switch it on to play football. And if you can't do that, you can't play football.
Yeah. So they'll definitely play each other again here soon. It'll be fun to see if the Cowboys can split with them. So
I think they might.
They might. They might. We'll see what happens in Dallas. Next was Sunday Night Football, Bills-Bengals, the rematch of the game that never was finished last year due to the Damar Hamlin, emergency situation that happened last year. It was cool that they were able to play again against each other this year, but the Bills probably didn't think it was very cool because they got beat up real bad. The Joe Burrow and the Bengals are all the way back. I mean, with him healthy, it looks like they could beat anybody in the AFC. The Bills are pretenders. And you know what? As much as I've hated Brian Daboll this year, I still think they're missing Brian Daboll because the offense is not good.
No.
They quit all the time. They quit on the run, and whenever they're down in like a third and whatever, Josh Allen's got to throw 38 yards. They freak out. Like they have like they short circuit, and they're like, oh shit, what do we do now? What do we do? Okay, well, just throw it. Just throw it to Stephon Diggs and hope he catches it. It's a very disjointed offense. And Josh Allen has thrown an interception in like 5 straight games and has the single most turnovers in all of football since 2018. I mean, not saying that he's a bad quarterback or anything, but
he's reckless. He's reckless with the ball. And
he's very reckless.
Daboll coached that out of him, just like he coached it out of Daniel Jones last year.
Yeah. So, you know what? Maybe they still are missing Daboll. You know what? I don't know. We'll see. But the Bills at 5-4, they don't scare anybody. They're pretenders. Their window's closed. They have an aging Von Miller that they have to pay. Stephon Diggs might be gone next year if this continues to spiral for them. And, maybe he wants to reunite with Mr. Daboll. I would love that. Woo! But I just don't know what's going on in Buffalo land. It looks like there's been like this dark cloud over Buffalo for like a year or so, ever since they lost to the Chiefs in overtime in the AFC divisional round. Like
window closed right there.
Boom. Yep. So I think major change is coming to Buffalo, and I don't think people are ready for it. I think Stephon Diggs gets traded this offseason, and one of the top landing spots, realistically, and this is not me being a homer, is probably the Giants to be with Daboll. They need a wide receiver, and they're going to have cap space next year thanks to getting rid of Leonard Williams. I think they're going to try to get a running back in there. They have pieces on defense, but they're another team that gets hurt every year. I mean, the Bills' defense is ravaged by injuries every year. They're never healthy. And they don't play on turf. They play on grass in Buffalo. So what is their problem? What's their major malfunction?
It seems like every year Tre'Davious White gets hurt, and losing Matt Milano is, I mean, that can't happen. You can't lose that guy who is the heart and soul of your defense and expect it to look the same. But can I just say something real quick about the Bengals and about Joe Burrow? How many people do we know, the three of us personally, who were trying to crap on the contract that Burrow got and were calling him ass and all these other...
It was hurt.
Are we watching the same damn sport? Are y'all completely out of your minds? Really?
I was not. I'm on the record. I'm here. I will admit it here on this show. I was the one person, not necessarily crapping on the contract, but when he was playing hurt the first 4 weeks, my stance was, you are the highest paid player in the history of the sport. If you think you could play, you should play, and you should play at a high level. That was my...
and Zach, I'm not even talking about that. I know you know that Burrow is good, right? I mean, yeah. we everybody on this podcast knows that Joe Burrow is really, really good at playing quarterback.
Top 3.
And we know some people who it didn't even make sense. Like they're not even fans of teams in the same conference who are crapping on him. It's like, what are you people watching? Seriously. Like, he is one of the best pure passers in the NFL. I still think he's better in the pocket when healthy than Patrick Mahomes. People call me crazy all you want. He is better in the pocket than Patrick Mahomes is. Sorry, he is. And I think the numbers back it up, and I think eventually he's going to get his chip. It's not going to be Patrick Mahomes every time going to the Super Bowl every year. I promise you that's not going to happen. So I just, like I said, I don't get what people are seeing. He is one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now, today, period, stop.
And that's what happens when you tank. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, just my little 2 cents on this. Bengals look good, but I'm pretty sure Jamar Chase got hurt in this game. And Higgins is going to miss Sunday. So prolonged stint without Chase and Higgins.
It's all right. He's all right.
It's fine. They got guys on that team in the receiver room who have just been itching and dying to show what they can do, who have been watching tape of their teammates tearing up the league.
When Tyler Boyd
be fine.
No, Tyler Boyd
is ridiculous.
Tyler Boyd's due on any team.
Hey, in years past, Pete, we would have called Tyler Boyd a dog. So
listen, well, let's see what he does Sunday, and I'll circle back next week, and I will hit him with a dog. We'll put an asterisk on him, and we'll monitor him what he does this Sunday. Buffalo, though, ain't nothing good in Buffalo, to quote Marshawn Lynch.
That man.
I'll be honest with you.
Get off of the Bills.
Dalton Kincaid looks pretty good as a rookie tight end. So
that's very good. Very physically impressive.
That's one positive you can take away. And the other thing that I've noticed, and this, I don't know if this necessarily has to do with Josh Allen, is Gabe Davis has quietly disappeared this year, where past couple of years during their run, he's been sort of like that secondary option for them, and he showed up in a big way. And this year, not so much. So I don't know if that's a product of Josh Allen struggling or Gabe Davis struggling, causing Josh Allen. Just something I noticed. But Buffalo.
That's a great point you bring up, because now I really wonder, did Gabe Davis play better for the Bills when Dable was there?
I mean,
I think so.
My eyes, yes. So
I think it's coaching. I really do. I think it's coaching. I don't think these guys forget how to play football. I don't. I don't know.
Person to get it at it though.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
So
next.
Monday Night Football. We'll let Dan have his
dun, 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 dun,
dun.
So listen.
Chargers, Jets.
Yeah, I can listen. After the Patriot game, I came on here and literally yelled into this computer with you guys listening to me, declaring the season was over, because I knew then that the Patriots were not good. Okay. You want to call them a defensive team? Fine. Okay. They're really not that great on defense. They're okay. They're not great. I knew then what the rest of this year was going to look like. And that's why I didn't fall for the trap after the Patriots game, like a lot of Jet fans did. They got suckered in. Oh, maybe we got something here in Zach Wilson. Nope. What did I say on this podcast? I said, nope. I said, this boy don't want none. That's not what we went into this year with the idea of, we didn't have the idea of going into this year with Zach Wilson beating teams like the Chiefs, and it's not going to happen because he isn't any good. He has poor judgment. He plays backyard football. He holds onto the ball forever. Now, I get it. Okay, it's not all his fault, but it could look a whole hell of a lot better with some competency back there. He has no feel for the game, no pocket awareness whatsoever. And I don't care how talented you are. If you don't have those things, you're not going to succeed. This is year 3 now, okay? I don't know what other my brethren Jet fans out there, because some of them are still delusional believers in this guy. I don't know what needs to happen for you to understand that this kid can't play quarterback at a high level in the NFL. Maybe his ceiling one day will be backup quarterback. Maybe. But I don't know, man. 3 years of just getting your face busted in because you hold on to the ball too long and your instincts are garbage and your pocket awareness is garbage, okay? It's not going to change, okay? It's just I don't foresee it changing, okay? And let's be honest. We all know what they brought Nathaniel Hackett in here for. They brought the dude in there to hold Aaron Rodgers, carry Aaron Rodgers bags into the building.
Yeah.
Okay. It's Aaron Rodgers' offense. Okay. He controls that offense. He makes all the calls at the line. Zach, well, they're not expecting this guy to do any of that because he can't. Okay. He just doesn't have that. So the offense is pitiful. The offensive line now, when you include all the injuries and the fact that, 2 weeks ago we were on our 3rd center, okay, and somehow, like, it was a miracle we only had 1 bad snap. I don't know how that happened, but it's not gonna look any better. I'm sorry, it's not gonna look any better. I'm done screaming and yelling about this team because they are what they are. And you know what we're doing right now? We're wasting a Super Bowl defense. Okay. And until last week, the special teams had been Super Bowl. The problem is with this team is because the offense is so inept, you literally have to play perfect on the other 2 sides of the ball to win. And Zach Wilson has to go 200 more passing attempts without an interception. Okay, great. He hasn't thrown an interception in 200. Well, you know what he's done? He's put the rock on the ground about 9 times this year. So maybe even more than that. I don't even know. I'm done looking at stats. I know what I'm looking at. And what I'm looking at is garbage. And I'm done with all these Jet fans trying to fucking defend this guy. You know, Joe Namath hit it right on the head right after that Patriots game. Didn't take long. I said the same damn thing. That's it. This guy can't play. Now let's go into the bigger problem. Okay. The bigger problem is that now we're hearing, and this was a very, very telling answer by Robert Saleh, who I now believe is a much better coach than he's been given credit for, because I don't think he has control over this fully. That's not his fault. Now we're hearing that because Zach Wilson's uncle is the founder of JetBlue Airlines, which we knew, right? Nick and I knew this, and all Jet fans knew this, okay, the first couple of years, and we gave it a pass because we all thought, okay, who knows, maybe this kid could turn out to be somewhat decent. Okay, now that's over with. Okay, anybody with eyes who can see can tell you that he ain't any good. So now it's coming out that the reason why this guy won't get sit or benched or whatever is because our lovely owner, and I don't want to rip on him too much. Okay, he brought us Aaron Rodgers. Shit happens. People get hurt. Okay, I'm not going to rip on him too much.
Woody.
But you can't let this happen because you're afraid of hurting your friend's feelings. Okay, I get it. You're really good friends. His nephew is your quarterback, and you want to do right by everybody. No, that's not how it works. Okay, you're gonna destroy a locker room over this nonsense. Cut it out. Bench this kid now. Don't let him play for the rest of the year. I don't care who the hell you bring in to play. I honestly don't care at this point. Make some kind of change. Okay, try to do something different. What's the definition of insanity, guys?
Doing the same thing over and over and over again.
And that's what we're doing. And guess what? Until this defense, it's a shame that it has to come to this, but it's going to happen. Until this defense starts making noise in the locker room, right? And starts making some noise in other places, and we start saying the Jets are spiraling out of control, maybe then that's when we'll see the Jets make some changes.
I could be completely wrong, but isn't that happening already a little bit? I did read that they're frustrated.
No, of course they are, dude. How could you not? When you are the only unit that gets off of the bus every week, how could you not be frustrated?
Yeah,
the offense doesn't get off of the bus.
No,
it doesn't. So pitiful.
And you know what? I'm so glad you brought that up with, Robert Saleh's interview with Michael Kay, because like that made the rounds on social media, like a firestorm on Twitter. And we were like, whoa, like we knew there was like slight nepotism going on, but like to that degree. And, to what you were saying, like, is he, the fact that they're not letting the head coach determine who plays, like, is he really the head coach or is he just their defensive coordinator?
I'm starting to believe that Robert Saleh has full control over the defense. Brant Boyer is the king of special teams. That's fine. He was there before Robert got there. He does a great job. Keep him there. I don't care. That was Mike Westhoff's role for 10 years on our team. But yes, I'm starting now to believe, and I wasn't sure about this until this year, until that interview, that this is a Woody Johnson decision. And because he believes that Zach Wilson still has something in him because he's not a football guy and he's never going to be a football guy. He's just one of these. I love him. I like, you listen to interviews. I really love the guy. I don't hate my owner. Okay. I don't. Okay. He has done some good things. He has done his best to really try to make the necessary changes to make the organization good. Okay. I'm not going to completely crap all over him, but this is just a billionaire, just not he doesn't see through our lens, right? He's a billionaire. He sees through a completely different lens. We don't see through that lens. Okay. So the fact that it's really highly probable that he's making football decisions is disturbing. And and I want to know, I'm not done yet. I want to know, how has that impacted Joe Douglas? Because you really start to question whose pick that was at number 2 overall. Was that a Joe Douglas pick or was that a Woody Johnson pick? So
it makes you question a lot.
I can't crap all over Joe Douglas, although I can for the offensive line. He's a former offensive lineman. You've had 4 years now, and it just ain't good enough. So we've got a real heavy offseason ahead of us. Aaron loves Robert. He loves this regime. They're all going to be back because you know why? Woody cares about what Aaron thinks, and Aaron thinks that these guys are good football people, including Nathaniel Hackett, including Alan Lazard, who is a drop machine, including Randall Cobb, who all he's done the last several years is when he's on the field, you have the worst offense in the league when he's on the field, including what's his name, the offensive lineman. I'm trying to forget these guys' name at this point. The guy from the Packers who he signed, who played guard. They moved him to guard, but he's really a career tackle. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. I don't Billy something. Okay, he's awful. All of his buddies that have come in here, they can't play, and
they're just there for
detriment. That's Billy Turner. Yeah, Billy Turner. So listen, it is a tale of 2 completely different teams. On one side, we have defense that's ready to make the most noise possible that you could even dream of making. And then we have an offense that doesn't belong playing for Rutgers University. So why would anybody think that that would turn out good in a league where everything is skewed to you being able to be successful throwing the ball? And then, okay, here's what I'm going to get on Saleh about, and then I'm done. Because like I said, there's no reason to yell. There's no reason to scream. I'm on Zach's page. There's no reason to get that upset anymore because I've already been upset. So the penalties, 1,000% on him. This defense is great. We've got young players on this defense making real bonehead penalties, and that needs to get cleaned up. Let them get all that shit out of their system now while we suck, so that one day, maybe if we have a chance for a competent offense, that we can stop shooting ourselves in the foot and making a complete mockery out of ourselves. 9 penalties in each of the last 3 games for about 100 yards, and not just any penalties. I mean killers. I mean killer penalties. So that is on Robert. And yeah, guys, it's just I'm emotionally spent from this team. I'm so emotionally drained.
Do you think Rodgers really comes back?
Oh yeah, of course he's coming. No, not that. No. Listen, at this point, it's a pipe dream. Him coming back this year? No.
Yes.
Listen, they would need to be in contention. Okay, that's not going to happen. He will be back next year. He'll be ready to go, and we'll see what happens. I really don't know what else to say because right now it's Rob. The team is. You want to know what the Jets are right now? The team is Robert Saleh and the defense. Ulbrich too. Ulbrich is going to be a head coach in the league one day. Brad Boyer and the special teams, and Aaron Rodgers and the offense. That's what the team is right now. So if you're missing any one of those things, it ain't going to work. And it just ain't going to work.
The Jets remind me of that meme where you're on the bus and you're looking out the windows, and the one window is just all these butterflies and rainbows and rivers. And then the other window is just like annihilation, darkness, gloom, all of that. And that's the Jets offense is looking at the gloom side, and the defense is looking at the rivers and the rainbow.
And the special team. The special teams is over there with the defense looking at all the beautiful stuff.
Just quickly, I know I commented with you along during that game, Dano, with just Zach Wilson has no presence in the pocket, outside of the pocket. He doesn't belong taking snaps on a football field.
Third string quarterback.
He made Bosa and Khalil Mack it was like cha-ching. They dominated him in every facet. And then if in 20, 25 years, I'm a billionaire and I own an NFL franchise, and either two of you produce a child and he's a starting quarterback, I promise you, if I draft him and he sucks, I will bench him.
Please do. Please do.
You would, wouldn't you want to make sure that your business is flourishing? Because by starting Zach Wilson, you're actually making the wrong business decision.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he's looking out for his boy or whatever, but that's
we say it's a relationship business all the time because it is. So my mind goes to, okay, who does Robert Saleh know? Like who's in his crew, right? Of people around the NFL who he trusts. Well, I guarantee you Mike Shanahan or Kyle Shanahan is one of them. What did we just see the 49ers do this year? Okay, they took a guy not only in the top 10 in the first round, but they gave up how much draft capital to do it?
A ton of draft capital.
A ton of draft capital. They didn't stand there and try to fucking just every week pound their chest for the same crap every week. What'd they do? No, they shipped that guy out of town. And now you haven't heard his name since then.
Nope. And they admitted their mistake and they moved on and they corrected it.
That's how
they all got extensions.
Yeah, that's how you win people over. That's how you save your job. Like, it's real simple.
So am I supposed to sit here and think that Robert Saleh doesn't know that?
No, he does.
Seriously. Kyle Shanahan is one of his good friends.
I think he's wanted to bench him for a long time. I don't think he wants to play Zach Wilson. I think he's forced to.
So yeah, it's that the quarterback is no longer on the coach. Say whatever else you want about the coach, okay? But it's been made clear as day. The quarterback is not on the coach.
No, it's not his decision. And you know what? That's not how shit should be. Like a successful, well-run team, that's not how it should be. And it's
get him on the field. And one last thing, my favorite little story. Everyone can put their tinfoil hats on.
Oh, boy.
So the conspiracy theory is that Aaron Rodgers never tore his Achilles.
Oh God, stop it.
And now, because when he went to his darkness retreat, he came out of that darkness retreat with one thing, and that was to stick it to science. So they orchestrated this entire thing where he's going to come back from this Achilles injury.
Can we scrub that from this episode? Pete, I love you to death, but
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I watched this fucking.
I don't even want it. Pete, I love you to death. I know that you're just repeating it. I don't want it repeated on here because that is the biggest load of crap that I've ever heard in my life.
You know how much money involves all that? Like,
Rodgers coming out. You think Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to play? to all those people out there that believe that conspiracy theory, Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to play football.
He has a boner for science and he wants to take it down.
Oh, right. And now he's playing for Woody Johnson.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of consistencies there.
Oh,
Oh God, please. I have enough misery in my life. Please, can we just not with this?
Yeah,
Can we just not do this
we're
right
moving
now?
on now. We're moving on now, Pete.
Oh crap.
Okay, Dan, we're going to replace your football misery with your baseball misery because now it's time to talk about the Yankees. I said this podcast was going to be a long one. It's going to be a long one.
This I'm going to yell and scream about.
Okay, good. I don't know if I will. I don't really know if I feel like hurting my voice, but I have some clips prepared for you guys. I'm going to play each one, and we're going to...
Let me get my candy corn holder out here right now.
I thought we were done with the candy corn.
Not when Halloween candy is 50% off, baby.
Oh, my good Lord.
I'm stocked up.
All right, so the first clip I'm going to play is Brian Cashman on the Yankees staff and their organizational process.
Analytics guys trying to be.
Hold on one second. Let me make sure that it's at the beginning here.
I think we have all people, whether they're pro scouts, whether they're coaches, whether they're the manager, whether they're the general manager, whether they're analytics guys. I think we have good people. I'm getting permission requests all over the place. We just lost our bench coach to the Mets as a manager. I've got analytics guys trying to be poached to other clubs right now. Our player development program, no different than other places. But again, reinforcement that we got good people. I'm proud of our people and I'm proud of our process. Doesn't mean we're firing on all cylinders. Doesn't mean we're the best in class. But I think we're pretty good personally. And I'm proud of our people. And I'm also looking forward to 24 being a better year than 23.
So that's clip number one. I want immediate reaction because my immediate reaction is this guy's a clown show. And the fact that he decided to show up in Arizona, take this random press conference and hold on a second, puff out his chest to these fucking reporters and tell how great he is and how great this process is and how great the Yankees are and how dare you question me. It came off as an arrogant, little bitter man. That's what this came out. That was my opinion. Next.
This is my immediate reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck you. I've defended Cash for the longest time, and this, for me, for him to talk about the process, and the process was working, we would have made the playoffs. If the process was working, we wouldn't have had Donaldson on the team. The process was working, we wouldn't have had Hicks, and we wouldn't just throw out a mediocre fucking roster that's built behind one fucking giant. Can we say that the idea of bringing in Giancarlo Stanton was a good idea to begin with, and it didn't work out?
No.
I understood what they were trying to do. How about passing up on Bryce Harper? Guess what? He's won a ring already.
Oh God. Oh.
How about talking about Jordan Montgomery? He can't pitch in the postseason. Guess what? He just won a fucking World Series ring. How many Yankees were on that? Former Yankees were on that team that won a ring. I'm pretty sure it's like 4 or 5. Just for him to do that, my immediate thing that came to my head was he knows he's wrong, and he's getting argumentative now for the sake of defending himself. Because guess what? The hot seat is on for him.
No, it isn't.
No,
it isn't.
No, it's not. I couldn't.
No, it isn't. What Pete, what he just proved to us with all these ridiculous answers is that he's the only general manager in professional sports who has a forever job.
Yeah, lifetime contract. I mean, the fact that he had the confidence to pretty much tell us, the Yankee fans, that we're too stupid to understand what he's trying to do to get the Yankees to win, and how dare we question his process? That is someone who has ultimate job security. You don't just go scorched earth because just because. Like, you don't just do that, because that's what he did. I don't think anyone has ever seen Brian Cashman have a worse press conference than that ever.
No,
that's just one clip. That's just one clip that I've shared. I got a couple more. Dan,
let's go through all of them before I go through what I want to say to ultimately want to say.
I got like 2 or 3 more that are like relevant. So this is a good one. This one really fucking made me go crazy.
You mentioned injuries, which are largely out of your control, but is there anything that needs to change and will change on the process side? Oh, we're always looking to improve on process. So last year, everybody thought that, well, first and foremost on the I want to make sure, and I think it's been put out there. So people talk about we're analytically driven, right? Do you know where the least large, we have the smallest analytics department in the American League East? Is that a shocker to you guys? We have the largest pro scouting department in all of baseball. Is that a shocker to you, to everybody? Shouldn't be, but no one's doing their deep dives. They're just throwing ammunition and bullshit and accusing us of being run analytically. Analytics is an important spoke in our wheel, but it should be in everybody's wheel, and it really is an important spoke in every operation that's having success. There's not one team that's not using it. We're no different. But to be said we're guided by analytics as a driver, it's a lie. But that's what people want to say. I know I can't change that narrative. All I can continue to do is say bullshit, not true. But I will, guarantee it's important, and we utilize it along with our pro scouting opinions, along with our amateur scouting opinions. And yes, sometimes we do better and sometimes we do worse with some of our decisions. Sometimes they don't work out, but that's also part of the process. And we've had obviously our fair share in the more recent 2 seasons that haven't worked out. Some of it because of injuries, but
so that clip was, the thought that we are analytically driven. And I'll play this one last clip, and then we could kind of just go crazy. The context is Brian Cashman talking about the Joey Gallo and Sonny Gray trades, a couple of the big notable moves that he made that were total stinkers and just didn't work out. So this is kind of like a back and forth between, him and Joel Sherman, who actually has a big pair of nuts and was kind of going at Cashman a little bit.
Transactions for 2 decades, your transactions were very good. The last 3 years, they have not been as good. You said you're doing self-reflection. What do you think?
Well, I get a kick out of like Joey Gallo gets named on, but since Joey Gallo left, guess who's picked him up? 2 playoff teams. The Dodgers traded him for us, and the Twins who just made the playoffs. There's Sonny Gray. He's currently in the competition for a Cy Young award, right? So it's interesting how they get written about these players. I get it, because whether they can play in New York or not, which is always a difficult thing. I don't care what anybody says. It's not easy to determine who can ultimately, especially with the amount of available player talent that you have that's at your disposal lately in the last, because I do believe like whether the last trade deadline, which was, I thought, the worst in terms of opportunities that place to pull down this, that, or whatever. I feel like there's not as many choices over the coming. These aren't complaints. These are just my facts. And so you have to make decisions.
His facts.
Try to engage people. I feel like we got to adjudicate the Joey Gallo decision over and over again. We went all in. We were out of balance. We needed a left-handed bat. It was a very limited market. I had a guy that played with him on our roster at the time, the infielder that we got from, Odor. Hey man, what's he like? Can he play in New York? I think he'd be great here. He can handle it, blah, blah, blah. We do the cross check. We talk to as many people as you can. You make a decision, then you live with it.
All right. So those are the clips that I felt were the most important to share. There's a few more that make you want to freak out. But, before I let Dan unleash, because like he said earlier, he is turned up and ready to roll. I've been having conversations with our cousin John, also a massive Yankee fan. I love how we're all collectively Yankee fans. Like, we all have our different basketball and football teams, but we were all collectively Yankee fans because we're all just crazy. So my big thing from that was the comment about the analytics department and the pro scouting department. When he says, did you know that we had the least amount of we had the smallest analytics team in the American League East. Did you guys know that? Well, first off, whoop-de-fucking-do. That doesn't matter. You could have the smallest department in all of baseball, but if you treat it like it's the Bible, of course we think you're going to be fully analytically driven, because that's how they're run. They may not have the biggest operation analytic-wise in all of baseball, as this bald-headed asshole just decided to tell us, but if you treat it like it's the only way you're supposed to run your team, then it doesn't matter how big it is. And the comment of, did you know we have the largest pro scouting department in all baseball? Oh, really? You mean to tell me the most recognizable franchise in the history of professional sports doesn't have the biggest pro scouting department?
There it is.
I'm supposed to be happy to know that? That's
there
your
it is.
requirement.
That was what. Yep.
Are you kidding me? Oh, but you guys didn't know that. What do you mean? That's what it should be.
It's talking out of both sides of your mouth, right? So, in one hand, you tell everybody, well, our scouting department isn't the biggest, but on the other hand, you go on to tell everybody who watches. We all watch the same game. We know what baseball is. He feels the need to explain how analytics is being used by every team. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Do you think that we're all complete idiots? Like, seriously, we understand that baseball is being driven by analytics right now because guys are throwing no hitters and getting taken out in the 6th inning. So we all understand that. Okay. Now you want to start throwing in names of players who haven't been here, and one of them hasn't been here in years. In Sonny Gray, who, by the way, come to learn that the Yankees mismanaged. Okay. He didn't want to throw a slider ever. He still doesn't throw. Like, you look at his numbers now, he doesn't throw sliders. Okay. But when we had him, what did we have to do? Because this is what we do. We force feed shit down these players' throats and expect it to work. Okay. That one year where we force-fed him that he was going to throw sliders at a 20% rate and he got absolutely shelled, okay? And then every other year that he's been pitching, he's been a good pitcher outside of being with our team. So you're gonna throw that name in there? How pathetic is that nonsense? Okay, and then Joey Gallo, just because he got picked up by 2 playoff teams, what did he do? Joey Gallo has been awful.
Well, and fun fact, if he did a little bit of research, Joey Gallo was left off the Twins playoff roster.
Right. So, like, what are you even talking about right now? You are embarrassing yourself. You are completely embarrassing yourself. I don't know what got into, like, really, like, okay, we get it. It's been bullshit. All the wrong decisions have been made. Explain to us Jordan Montgomery. Okay, how did analytics play a role in you deciding that Jordan Montgomery couldn't pitch in the playoffs? And what did we just watch? We just watched dominance in the playoff. The Texas Rangers don't win a World Series without Jordan Montgomery this year. So, can your analytics department explain that to us? Dude, it's so infuriating, man. And the market for left-handed batters hasn't been so good. Dude, we've been watching a right-hand power dominant team for years now, and that's not what we watched growing up, right, Pete? That is the antithesis of Yankee baseball.
The lineups of past blended lefties, switch hitters, and righties to utilize the short fucking porch in right field to our advantage. That was our advantage, and we've gone away from that. And I mean, I will say the Gallo thing, I was a believer in Gallo, but it's clear as day that as soon as we got him, the fall off was fast and furious, and we should have moved on sooner from him.
Well, Pete, and that's fine, but I'm saying you're gonna bring this dude's name up right now.
I know it.
And then hold on a second. And then you're gonna try to force feed down our throats that was the only available left-handed bat at the time. So Brian, since we won our last World Series, what's the market look like for left-handed power bats? So you mean to tell me for the better part of 15 years now, the market on left-handed power bats is too much for us? Well, we can't dabble in that market. That's not a market that we should be dabbling in.
Look at
I'm sick.
Look at all the prospects that we've held on to and we're afraid to move on from because we didn't want to spend the money on bigger ticket players.
But because we have the best pro scouting department in baseball.
Okay, and Miguel Andujar, friggin' Clint Frazier, just to name two people that we untouchable.
And hey, Pete, here's another guy we mismanaged. Do you remember Jabba Chamberlain? Okay. Do you remember what we
Jabba rules?
We destroyed this guy. He was about to be one of the best pitchers like in our generation. And we completely destroyed this guy doing the same nonsense, force feeding shit. And it doesn't work. So
it's the Yankee way.
After 15 years, do you think something would change? You think maybe you want to have your analytics department, I don't care how fucking big they are or not, take a look at Sonny Gray's production and maybe make a decision that force feeding a pitch that the guy does not throw isn't a good idea. Like, I'm sick. I'm so angry. This is so, like, we've had our moments as Yankee fans, guys. Okay. We've seen all the glory that there is to see. I can say personally that I was very fulfilled growing up watching this team. Okay. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
We were spoiled.
Oh, are we spoiled? We're still spoiled. I mean, really, when you think about it, but like, we're supposed to be spoiled. This organization should be the best run organization in sports. And I'm going to go back to what I keep saying every time that all of us talk about the Yankees. Would all this bullshit be happening if George was here?
Nope. And I knew you were going there. George, I say this all the time, valued winning above everything. And Hal values money. He values a return. The Yankees are a business to him. It is an income to him. It's not something that he has, I can't find the words, that he doesn't have it in him.
He doesn't have balls. He doesn't have any balls. He's a complete softy. Okay. It's again, and I'm sure he's a nice guy. Okay. And I don't want to crap on him too much because these people that grow up in this life, like the Woody Johnsons in the world and the Hal Steinbrenners of the world, they just don't see things the same way. Okay. They grew up being fucking spoon-fed their whole lives. George didn't. George built this bitch. Okay. This franchise has 27 world championships because of George Steinbrenner. Otherwise, we would have how many? 24, 23.
Yeah, 23.
So he built the model for perfection for a professional sports team in America. He built the model. Okay. This isn't the guy who bought the Yankees for $1 billion in the early 80s. Okay. He didn't buy them for that much. He built that shit because he had balls and he had drive And like Pete just said, he wanted to win above all else because he knew if you do that in New York and you do it enough, which he did, you are going to see endless success from that. To the point where now, because of him, we have a beautiful museum of a ballpark with absolute dog shit sitting in the middle of it on the field every game. And it's such a crime. It is such a crime. And guess what, guys? This is our owner now. Because
it's not, nothing's changing.
Nothing's gonna change.
This is the
do you really think Hal Steinbrenner, do you think he's gonna sell the Yankees?
No. The only way that anything changes is if we are bad enough and Cashman embarrasses the Yankees enough to his investor friends get in his ear and say, this guy has to go or we're not going to be happy. That's the only way. Now, I do know that apparently he's been having a ton of meetings with Aaron Judge, and Judge is pretty much now an executive with the Yankees.
But that just proves my point, Zach. This guy has no balls. Okay, do you think George went to Derek and asked him for advice on what he should do with the team?
No.
Really? Do you think he went to Mattingly and asked him for advice on what he should do with the team?
Like, that's the point, though. You're absolutely right. George Steinbrenner, people respected him, and he was when he spoke, people listened. He put the boss. He put the fear of God into everybody in that organization and league-wide. And such a far cry from how things were run, and just abysmally run now. And
And Pete, what we're saying, right? We're saying Hal has no balls. He's not a boss. He's not anywhere near an alpha. He's asking his star players he's having meetings with his star player about what he should do with the team. All this about. No wonder Brian Cashman is coming out guns blazing, fucking ready to start fights with the fan base, because what is he worried about?
But that's also an interesting thing that I wanted to bring up, because it was reported that Hal went to Judge and asked, hey, like, what part of the analytics department do you not like? Like, what do you not like? Like, and one of the big things Judge said was he feels that the Yankees are devaluing batting average and RBIs. And I was like, so you mean to tell me that this team does not think that batting average and RBIs are the two most important things in a hitter? It is launch angle to them and ball placement. Launch angle and ball placement, not batting average and RBIs. So no wonder why Brian Cashman is pissed off, because his own players are telling the owner that his analytics departments suck and he doesn't know what he's doing.
No matter how big it is. We don't give a shit.
Yeah, no matter how big or small it is. So now I was talking to John about this the other day. I think there's a legitimate civil war going on within the Yankees front office. I think there's power struggle going on right now, because another reason why Cashman would do that, number one, obviously he thinks he has a job for life. But number two, he feels like he should defend what he's been doing for the Yankees, because this is the first real offseason that he has been legitimately questioned by his owner, by his star players, and by other people in his office. Apparently, the audit was done by his assistant manager.
All right. So I wanted to get to that. The audit,
which is a sham, by the way.
It's a load of shit.
Yeah.
Because on the Michael show, so the audit is still, it's an ongoing audit, first of all. And the audit is being taken place. The independent company is a company that is outsourced by the head of the analytics and audit department from the Yankees. So the head guy is recommending the people to do the audit. And it's going to take place all through the 24 season. So the people that put the product together for the 23 season are still putting the product together for the 24 season. And the people that are auditing it are run by the people that are putting together the 23 and 24 season.
You know what that says to me? 82 and 80.
It's bullshit.
Guys, that's called, and every professional team does this, that's called self-scouting. Okay? That's not that's a real cute way to try to sell us on this idea that
change is happening.
We're really going to look in the mirror here and, you know, get our shit together. And no, that's a sell job. Every team self-scouts. Every team self-scouts. That's what that is. It isn't a damn audit. Great point. Real sorry shit coming from what's supposed to be the highest class organization in sports. And all we get now is low class bullshit. And my ears are bleeding at this point. My ears are bleeding. My hope is gone. I have no hope for next year. None. What? How does a franchise this disorganized get anything done now?
I am not.
Clown.
It was so embarrassing on so many levels. I mean, I don't know how, like, if you're Hal Steinbrenner and you're having dinner and Cashman just had this press conference in Arizona, how do you not go, what the fuck did he just do? Like, how do you not go, did he just say this to our fans? So, like, I don't know what's going on. All I know is that this is now a gigantic distraction from us doing what should be for what we should be doing, and that's going to sign Cody Bellinger or trying to trade for Juan Soto or trying to sign Shohei Ohtani, because that's what it should be. But you know what? Our big free agency ad is going to be.
He's going after lefty bats, and immediately we're thinking, we're getting Soto, we're getting Bellinger. It's gonna be what we're gonna get is Verdugo and Kevin Kiermaier. That's what we're gonna get.
There's our two outfielders, and that'll fix the lineup. And this is, you guys don't see it now, but you'll see it come July when they're
and when someone gets hurt. It's like we're at the coming back All-Star break, getting Dominguez back in September. That's going to be like a big trade.
We already know what's going to happen. It's already laid out. The season's already laid out. I'm not watching a second of Yankee baseball.
I can't wait for our big arm that we get in the starting rotation. We're gonna get Frankie Montas back on a cheap deal. He's showed some promise with those 6 innings he pitched at the end of September.
How do you another thing? We're worried about our bench coach got poached by the Mets, so we got a lot of problems that we have to solve in house. Your bench coach got poached by the Mets and is now a manager, and that's one of the big things that you're gonna start with in one of those answers.
Which, by the way, The Yankees bench coach is a fucking clipboard holder.
Well, we could get into the Mets. I mean, that hasn't been a good start by the new czar there, who everybody wanted. All Mets fans wanted them too, and it's not a good start. But going back, like, no, just absolutely not. I'm not going to believe a word that these people say. Not a word.
Until I see Cody Bellinger in pinstripes sitting next to Hal Steinbrenner in a press conference, I won't believe anything that anybody says.
Fuck that. Juan
Soto.
I will drive everyone out to San Diego to go drop their bags off and bring Soto back to the East Coast. Yep. He's available. I don't care what the Padres said, that they want to see if they have a shot to start the season, how they do. He's available.
Every player has a price tag.
Go get him.
Go get him.
Gone. Michael King, gone. Pereira, gone. Go get Soto.
And all this crap now that I'm reading today about how Glaber's been a part of trade talks that have been brought up, people calling, cash.
Trade Glaber to the fucking Red Sox, I will lose my mind.
I mean, like, okay, I get it. He's not an all-around player that you feel confident about every day.
Best player we had.
But he's the best contact hitter the Yankees have had. Oh, goodness.
3 years?
3 years. 3 or 4 years. 4 years.
Yeah,
probably.
When they called him up. So, if I'm a proponent for trading Glaber, because if you're not going to sign him, then you trade him.
Well, if they don't sign him, then trade him. I get it.
Get a pitcher in here. Free up the logjam in the infield to let Peraza play, and everything will be a whole lot smoother. But, they're not run that way.
I think Glaber's better than Peraza.
Yeah, I do too. He is better.
He probably is. But if you're not going to sign him to an extension, trade
something for him.
Yes.
Yeah.
But don't trade him to your rival of the last 132 years for some random lefty outfielder who also wears 99.
I do like Verdugo is a good player, but if we traded Glaber for Verdugo, again, that'll be the second worst trade.
That's heresy. I like Verdugo too, but if you can get another piece back, say like it's Glaber and you get Verdugo and like another piece or two, okay, maybe you might sell me on it because it's not a straight even swap. But just fucking.
So it's a combination of both, like we've been saying, Hal running it like, he just wants to bank and not pay players, right? Which really we have the third highest payroll in baseball. So
because he paid
nothing new. Nothing new.
Nothing new. He paid one guy because he knew that one guy was going to make sure people showed up to his stadium every freaking day.
And that, to me, okay, we could say whatever we want about Hal. So Brian Cashman doesn't have a pot to piss in because we still have the third highest, largest payroll in all of baseball, and we suck. So that means that you and your tiny analytics department and your largest pro personnel scouting department in baseball have made all of the wrong decisions. The only right one that has been made that he didn't even make was like you guys said, getting Judge back here, right? Or back in the building.
Yep.
Because that's the only thing that's gonna at least keep people interested.
Yeah.
And Hal knew that. Hal might be dumb, but he's not that dumb, right? Like he's got people in his ear. He's got, yeah, you let this dude walk. Who's coming to the ballpark?
You'd have to be blind, deaf, and dumb
Right.
to understand that Aaron Judge is the Yankees franchise in the face of the Yankees, in the face of Major League Baseball. If you let him walk out of your building, you are the biggest fool on this planet.
So who is that more of a detriment against? It's not a detriment against Hal because he's the one who actually got the deal done.
No,
right?
It's definitely against Cashman because Cashman's fucking stubborn and was going to let him walk.
Right. So Cashman.
And that's not, how that's not a red flag for fucking Hal that you were going to let the franchise walk out the fucking building who should be the MVP of this year too, because without him in that lineup, that Yankees team doesn't win shit.
That Yankees team loses 100 games.
Yeah. So Brian, your analytics department and your scouting department, what were they telling you about Aaron Judge? And why was that leading you to this really peculiar decision that you're just going to let him go to the Giants? Because he was about to go. He was this close.
He was there.
To being a San Francisco Giant. This close.
Yeah, because Brian Cashman and his analytics team thought he was too expensive.
Yeah, well, okay. How about Giancarlo Stanton? Is he not too expensive? Give me a break.
By the way, Corey Seager was too expensive.
World Series MVP Corey Seager? You
one
mean
one of the best shortstops of our generation, Corey Seager?
So was Bryce Harper, the guy that we couldn't sign because we had too many people in the outfield. Oh, guess what? He's permanently playing first base going forward in Philadelphia.
It's just
I can't.
It's maddening.
Let's do week 10 picks. I'm over this.
I'm done.
Guys, I love you to death. I hate to do this, but I have to go pick up my girlfriend from her friend's house. So I will let you all continue this wonderful podcast without me. I'm sorry that I'm not going to do my picks. Just know that I'm picking against my Jets this week.
Okay.
That's all I want you guys to know.
There's not too many games here, so I mean the podcast probably is going to be on for much longer.
Yeah, so listen. Congratulations in advance. Okay, if your team doesn't win, that's obviously a red flag. That's all I'm going to say. I love you. I love you guys to death. Peace out. Peace out to our listeners on the pod. Till next time. Hopefully I could get back on soon. Peace, guys. Kill it.
Peace. All right, let's get to our week 10 picks here. Panthers, Bears. I mean, it's almost over, but before the game even started, I picked the Bears to win, and they're currently winning. So
I picked the Panthers to win this, but it's a shame.
Next, we have Colts versus Patriots. I'm taking the Colts. They continue to score a bunch of points. The Patriots still just are not good.
Colts, Bill Belichick is getting left in Germany. It's been a hell of a year.
Browns, Ravens. This is actually my game of the week. Big division game in Baltimore. I do have the Ravens taking it and getting a big signature win in the division against the Browns, and I think they move to 8-2.
I am going with the Ravens on this one.
All right. Next, we have Packers versus Steelers. I'm taking the Steelers at home against the Packers, who are just totally abysmal. I mean, I don't think they could do anything in Pittsburgh.
Mike Tomlin doesn't need to do a lot of coaching in this one because Jordan Love is not it. Pittsburgh at home.
Next is 49ers Jaguars in Jacksonville. The 49ers are healthy. They're coming out of their bye. Debo's back. CMC is healthy. Trent Williams is healthy. I'm going to take the 49ers at a bounce back game against the Jaguars.
This is going to be my game of the week. Big test for the Jags here. I think this is the get right though for the 49ers. Like you said, everyone's healthy, got the band back. 49ers roll.
Next, Saints versus Vikings. This is my upset of the week, actually. I'm gonna pick the Vikings over the Saints. I think Joshua Dobbs goes out and leads the Vikings to another win against the Saints.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Saints on this one. Like I said before, I think Carr's starting to really click now with the wide receivers, including Olave. Look for Taysom Hill to gadget himself. Saints win.
Next, we have Texans, Bengals. I'm going to take the Bengals in Cincinnati. I love the way CJ Stroud's playing with, and I love how D'Amico Ryans is coaching up the Texans, but I think the Bengals are going to take care of business.
My upset of the week right here with there's no Higgins this week. I don't know what Jamar Chase, I don't know if he's playing or not. CJ Stroud is like white hot right now. Let's keep that momentum going. What a huge win on the road. Huge upset. Texans.
All right. Next is Titans Buccaneers. I'm going to take the Titans in this one. I know the Bucs just put up a whole bunch of points, but they've been a model of inconsistency so far this year, and I think Will Levis gets a bounce back game from losing in the Steel City. I think he lights it back up with D-Hop against the Bucs. I got the Titans.
I'm going to walk with you on this one. I agree wholeheartedly. I think this is going to be one of those. I think Levis is going to do his thing, but I think Derrick Henry is going to have one of those takeover games.
All right. Lions Chargers. Lions coming off the bye, going into LA. I'm taking the Lions, baby. Dan Campbell has got them gassed up. They are rested. David Montgomery is coming back. Let's see how much they use Jahmyr Gibbs. But the Jared Goff has been quietly one of the best quarterbacks in football this year. I'm taking the Lions against the Chargers.
I'm going with that. I want to see what they do with Jahmyr Gibbs after Jahmyr Gibbs has had last couple of games with Montgomery out. It's had the breakout that we were anticipating. So I want to see how that translates into this week against a porous Chargers defense. I think the Chargers defense was a fugazi against the Jets this past week. So going Detroit Rock City.
Detroit Rock City. Next, Falcons versus Cardinals. This is Kyler's first start, so there might be some rust here. I know what's the running back's name? James Conner. I know he's coming back too, but there might be a little bit of rust. I like the Falcons' talent still. I think I'm going to take the Falcons on the road here.
I want to take the Falcons, but after the 5-minute Arthur Smith video, I can't do it. Call of Duty is not out yet. Look for Kyler
out tonight.
Oh fuck, never mind. It's gonna be a tie.
It's gonna be a tie.
It's gonna be a tie. 24-24 tie.
Okay, interesting. Next is Giants Cowboys. This is my blowout of the week. The Cowboys are going to drop 40 on them again. It's just going to be 40-0 like week one, and that's it.
I will I'll walk with you on that one. Blowout of the week.
And I just lost my parlay. Sorry to interrupt. I lost my parlay tonight because Chuba Hubbard didn't get 25 rushing yards. He had 23. Pain.
What we call a bad beat.
You know how many times that has happened this year, dude? It's so frustrating. But anyway.
The year.
Commanders, Seahawks. Commanders traveling all the way to Seattle. I'm going to take the Seahawks in this spot. I think they want to get a bounce back game from getting waxed by the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know how well the Commanders travel all the way. It's hard to play in Seattle. I'm going to take the Seahawks.
Yeah, we're gonna go with the 12th man on this one. Seattle takes Commanders at home.
Next Sunday night football, Jets Raiders in Las Vegas. I'm picking the Raiders. I mean, the Jets offense is only the Giants offense is worse than the Jets, and Zach Wilson just cannot lead the Jets to do absolutely anything. So I'm going to take the Raiders.
In the words of my interim head coach, Antonio Pierce, Raiders. Raiders stomp the Jets. Max Crosby may have 6 sacks in this game.
Maybe. You might be right. Next is Broncos Bills on Monday night. I'm gonna take the Bills, even though they haven't really been playing well this year. They're not as bad as the Broncos, so I'm gonna take the Bills.
Broncos are still god awful. They're not winning in Buffalo.
No.
PU stinky. Bills win.
PU stinky. Who is your fantasy player of the week?
Quick scroll through here. I am gonna go with CeeDee Lamb. I think he's gonna rack him up still.
I'm gonna go with Joe Burrow. I think he slings it against the very, very weak Houston secondary. Sleeper fantasy player of the week.
I'm gonna go with the Las Vegas Raiders defense.
Las Vegas Raiders defense. My sleeper of the week is probably going to be. Ooh, this is a toughie, huh? Josh Reynolds against the Chargers.
Okay.
That's my sleeper. All right. This was a long one. We prepared for it to be a long one. We knew it was going to be a long one. But with that being said, we're going to call it here. This one's at least 3.5 hours? I haven't even checked, but
at least 3.
At least a minimum of 3. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for listening, watching, sitting through all 3 hours of us being ridiculous. But yeah,
we're approaching 100.
We are approaching 100. We're going to hopefully do something pretty special for it. And when we do, I'm sure everyone's going to go crazy for it. So with that being said, peace out, everybody.
Hoorah!